All right, welcome to an all-new episode of FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Flook.
I am Eric Richardson.
And if you're watching, you can see we are not alone today. So we have asked to come on the program the current Wednesday Night Dash Series leader, Kaden McAreavy Jr., who drives the number 3 University of Iowa truck. Kaden, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Hi,
Kaden.
how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we wanted to start having some drivers on here, and we figured we'd start with you because you were running away with the series. You got a 34-point lead over second place with two races to go. You've podiumed in 5 out of 6 races. In the 6th race, you weren't even there because of a technical problem. First off, congratulations so far on the success this season. That just, you've been outstanding from start to finish so far. I have to ask, what is your key to the consistency and success? Like, you've consistently run up front all season. What's the secret?
There is really no secret. The more that I practice at a certain track, the more I find like the different lines and the different grooves and like how to save the tires. Because that's really what it comes down to, especially in this league with no yellows for wrecks or anything like that. It's just a long run and a long run. You really have to save up the tires. And I think that's really what it ends up coming down to.
Yeah, that's a good advice. We were talking before we hit record about how I started to get more aggressive later on and just trashed my tires. I'm like, still have to remember, I've only been doing this a year, still beginner. Eric, you had an exciting week.
Yeah, it was. I'm driving wise, it's maybe not been the best results, but overall pretty exciting. Just jumped in a random Dallara Dash one day and look at the split, and I usually look to see how many people are in it, and I see a Tony Kanaan pop up. I'm like, there's no way. Maybe it is.
I had the stream on actually on the TV above me, and I see, down in the corner it says Tony Kanaan connects, and I'm just like, no, that can't be. There's no way that's the Tony Kanaan. And for those who don't know, is the winner of the 2015 Indy 500, longtime Indy racer, been involved in several series across the globe, very, very successful racer. And now he's in your Dallara Dash session.
Yep. And, he was talking with some of the other people, totally cool. And I pull up his Twitch, and I know he streams quite a bit, and he was streaming at the time. But then once he finally ended it, went back and watched it, like, he's at Indy. Hey, there's my name. I actually got to race in the same race as Tony Kanaan. Like, coolest moment in the first year of racing so far.
What was cool about his stream, I've never honestly watched his stream before, but he doesn't do it's not his screen. He actually has a camera that's sitting just behind his head, and that's his primary view. And then his secondary camera is of his face, and then his third camera is of his feet. And it's a different view, but it's really cool. And you can see just how ridiculous of a setup he has. And it's hilarious. He's wearing like sweatpants and his racing shoes, with his large triple monitor setup, and he's got his, the light with the gear that he's in right next to him. I mean, it's just, I can't even imagine spending that much. But then again, his face is on the Borg Warner trophy, so I guess it justifies his involvement. Especially, I mean, he does also pretty heavily involved in iRacing.
Yeah, it's really cool to see him. I mean, that's somebody I've enjoyed watching race and always rooted for at the 500. So it's awesome to see him win, and then to just encounter somebody like that in this setting. It's so cool.
And the thing with him is, I always got this vibe that like he was very close to like snapping and would like beat the crap out of another driver. But I hear that like he's actually very, very nice and like one of the nicest drivers out there. And by some of his reactions to people, it gave that away, his personality. Someone was like, is this like the Tony? And he's like, oh no, I'm just a rookie, was his response. So that was pretty cool. So transitioning over to the pros, no Formula One last week, France this week. What are your thoughts, Eric?
We'll see how it goes. It's will Ferrari actually finish a race, and where will Red Bull be? And then Mercedes is going to be top 4 just because 2 cars are going to wreck out from those 2 teams.
So, Kaden, I don't know how much Formula One you watch. Is that something you?
I am a Drive to Survive Formula One fan, so I don't really catch it as the season's happening, but then I watch the next season of Drive to Survive, and I'm up to date on all that. But this season I have only seen a couple of races, so I'm not familiar with a lot of the different storylines and stuff like that.
It's too early for me most of the days. It's lights out at like 5 a.m. I'm like, no, 5 a.m. on a Sunday. No, not doing it. But I'll usually get up and catch the end. And I'll probably no different for this weekend.
Being East Coast, I'm usually up just right around the drop of the green.
NASCAR, Christopher Bell wins. But I think the biggest story from that race was the in-between stage dust-up of Austin Dillon and Brad Keselowski. And that was one of the stranger things because nobody seems to know what set them off, like what caused them to have their little on-track scuffle.
Yeah, apparently there's radio chatter. Austin Dillon's crew knew what was going on. They're like, take him out. And then Keselowski goes, hey, he's got content for his new reality show.
Well, if anything, I thought Brad knew because the way he reacted to the initial little bump and just swerving all the way down the racetrack, I thought it was something that he was mad about too. But then he came on the radio and said, what was that all about? But
it's so weird. And neither of them have directly addressed it. And I said this last week too. It's so weird to me that how much of a non-factor Brad has been this year. Former champion, had many, many great years of success. It's not like he was going to a startup team. He was going to an established team that competes every year. And that's the most we've heard about him for the most part this year, was that scuffle. I mean, he's really been a non-factor most weeks, which is so weird to me.
Now, what would have been fun is if they still brought drivers to the hauler after the race and sat him down. That would have been fun to watch.
Put a camera in that room and have it televised too. That'd make good ratings.
That'd been pay-per-view right there.
Could you imagine in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and you have like, there was always you're going to go to Bill France Jr.'s trailer after the race. And that was like, even the toughest drivers, that would scare the crap out of them. And, it's like, you don't want to be called to the trailer. And did you imagine putting a camera in that, what was said? I mean, I'm sure you probably couldn't air most of it on network television for sure.
HBO special, Life Behind the Scenes.
Yeah. But that's the other thing is I miss the Showtime show where they'd show the uncensored clips. And I watched a clip of Kyle Busch from a couple of years ago where Kyle being Kyle, and he comes into pit, he gets black flagged for speeding off of pit road. He disagrees with it. He comes back and gives the double finger to the official and gets a 2-lap black flag for his, unsporting behavior. And you could see his crew chief like, Kyle, stop. Classic moments. So that's the kind of thing that that's really like what made NASCAR is just the outrageous stuff that you don't see and can't see on network television. They need to get back to that. I think we've lost the whole. That's where Formula One has succeeded with the drive to survive, and NASCAR needs to get back to that as well. They need to show the uncensored radio chatter and just see the emotions of the drivers, and more than what you can play on NBC on a weekly basis.
It'll be fun to see what happens between those two this weekend at Pocono.
Always a fun race. So moving on, IndyCar, Scott Dixon ties Mario Andretti for the second all-time in IndyCar wins. Major accomplishment. I mean, Scott Dixon's been around forever. They're in Iowa this week, but Kaden, we were talking, you unfortunately, while close to the track, won't be in attendance this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going up to Chicago for a birthday. But I was gonna buy tickets and I would love to go just because it sounds like it's gonna be a great weekend. The people at the track there put on a great promotion, and they have 4 great concerts too. They got like Blake Shelton, Florida Georgia Line, Gwen
Oh,
Stefani.
wow.
So it sounds like it's just gonna be a party up in Newton this weekend, and unfortunately I won't be able to attend.
Well, and I believe it's a double header too, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And yeah, and two, like somebody pointed this out, that the support that Hy-Vee has done for the IndyCar series is, I don't think is said enough. It's like, patting corporate sponsors on the back is like, okay, but still, like Hy-Vee has been all in with IndyCar this year, and have been in the last couple of years, and they've got the race sponsorship. I saw that they painted the start finish line the bright red Hy-Vee red, which some people seem to really love it. Some people like, I wanted the corn start finish line.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I mean, it's good to see, if IndyCar, we've been critical of their marketing. I think having Penske in charge now, I think, he's probably, who knows what he's doing behind the scenes. He's always up to something. And I'm confident that they're going to come out better for it in the end. But
Last weekend there was a big issue with the race.
Yeah, right. It's they went all Peacock for the race last week, which upset some people. And it's the argument of, if you've been, if you're struggling to attract an audience and a new audience, you're putting it onto a streaming platform that a lot of people don't have, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't have Peacock, so I wasn't able to watch, and I was trying to figure out where, and looking at comments, a lot of people were not happy with that move, and it's like, well, you lost a fan here, and I won't watch again. And
I think they have 2 more that are going to be exclusive to Peacock this year, maybe 3 more.
I feel like I've heard that. I think this weekend is on NBC and Peacock both, which I'm happy about. But it's tough when this is probably my favorite series to watch right now, but I can't stream it.
I mean, Kaden, how, you're a college kid. Spending money on extra streaming platforms is probably not in the budget. What do you think?
Thankfully, my parents are big Office fans, so when
nice
on Netflix, we did splurge a little bit and we got the Peacock. So I do have Peacock, and I probably will be watching the race on my phone or on when I'm on the road this weekend or something.
So you seem to be in the minority to luck out. I bought Peacock originally for the Premier League soccer every weekend, and then I usually I'd cancel it after the season ends and re-up it in August when the season starts. But I let it go through this year just because I've been watching more and more IndyCar, and they've been having more and more events. So, I mean, the people who watched it on Peacock actually said the broadcast was really good because it was, pretty much limited to no commercial interruption that I recall. I didn't watch every second of it, but overall it was very smooth, very well done on a streaming platform. It's just putting it on a somewhat obscure is still questionable, considering they don't have the fan base right now. On that note, let's turn to Wednesday Night Dash. So we are sitting with the pole sitter and the winner of the race, and it's not me, and it's definitely not me, and it's not Eric. So we kind of hinted this, that Eric and I, when we put together the season schedule, we grab a couple of drinks and let's start putting a schedule together. And we were laughing as we were putting this together, and then we actually see it in action, like, okay, maybe that wasn't such a great idea. But I mean, you seem to not have any issues out there this week. You had a pretty smooth run. You had a 0 incident count for the race.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the bottom of the standings, had a 0 incident count because I ran such a conservative run. I whiffed on strategy, thinking that running safe on the low line was going to be enough, and it definitely wasn't. What did you see out there?
What I saw right away when I got the pole. So let me tell a quick story. I was in Orlando the morning of the race.
Oh yeah.
And there was supposed to be a heavy storm coming in when my flight was supposed to leave. Thankfully, completely missed the airport. And I got back in time to do about an hour of practice because I actually had to purchase Lucas Oil Raceway. I didn't have it. So the first laps I turned on Lucas Oil were about an hour before the race, and I was just trying to.
Now you're
Trying-
really making me feel bad.
And I was trying to get it, find the quick line. So I turned on the driving line and I was like, oh, the outside short track, that's kind of weird. So I was trying to do that. And then, I was very, very surprised that I got the pole and then just kind of drove around. And I was scared that the 40 was going to come. Colton, he was very, very fast all night, but
He was
got taken out going into turn 3 on the first lap. So.
yeah, and all of a sudden I'm bringing up the rear, and I'm just like, yes, I've got my strategy. I'm going to run safe because you got these pack of cars running the high line. They're going to take each other out, and I'm just going to stay competitive all night because I'm going to take advantage of people being in the pit. It's like I'll be laps down probably, but I'm going to be in the top 5 for sure. And then no, it just did not work that way. Just completely whiffed on the strategy, which that's an experience for you. Eric, you had a rough start.
Yeah, I mean, what did I start? 4th or 5th. I got through that first mess. I was running in 3rd. I think coming off of 4, ended up looping it. Luckily, I kept it off the wall and kept going, but I was at the back of the field. Then just trying to run and get into a groove, and I was trying to push there at the end to stay on that lead lap, but unfortunately ended up being the second car lap down, so just kind of snowballed from there. And
Yeah,
I
and then
lost it one more time, and I'm just running.
I ran such a conservative race that we got to the caution. Everybody else is like, I need new tires desperately, and I'm just like, my tires are great, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna take the wave around. I'm gonna get back on the lead lap, and just too small of a track that I didn't quite catch the field, and because I was already running slower to begin with, it just didn't work out. And
yeah, I was kind of the same way, because when I think it was Hunter was right behind me and he started to fall back, and I just like, wow, this is perfect time to start saving tires. So at that break, I wasn't really sliding around near as much as I thought, which I think kind of helped me get through some of that lap traffic. But I did come into pit just because why not? We had 40 more laps to go, and never know what the tires are going to do. But
it's just, yeah, I mean, tire wear was critical. And I heard people on the radio as we got close to the caution, and there's just like, I've got nothing left, so watch out for me. I'm on ice skates over here. So it was an interesting track. So moving on, next week we actually made a slight adjustment to the schedule after how last week's went. We were going to make the ambitious plan of going on to Bristol's with the dirt configuration. And I think most of us are not dirt racers by any means. A lot of us are still fairly new to this, and we're like, this is going to turn out even worse. So we ended up putting up a couple of votes to the group to see what their thoughts were. And we initially said, okay, let's move it. Let's move it to somewhere relatively neutral, or give an option. So let's give the option to stay at Bristol or go to Vegas. And it was a pretty torn as far as the group was concerned. And then I said, okay, fine. It was Zach Voles suggested, well, if you would have put Bristol pavement, I would have for sure voted for that. And I said, okay, so let's do a second vote. And we put up the vote of, do we take the dirt out and go back to pavement, or are we going to stay on the dirt? And I think the final vote ended up being like 8-1 to move to pavement. So I'm like, okay, I guess pavement it is.
Yeah, I personally never run dirt on iRace. It is like I've tried a couple street stock races, and then when it was on the schedule this year for Bristol Dirt, I tried it, and it was just, yeah, I can maybe get 3 laps, but then when people start going by me, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I've been dreading this upcoming week since I put it on the schedule, and the alcohol-induced laughing associated with, hey, let's put Bristol Dirt on there. That'll mess with the standings. And then I'm like, maybe we need to backtrack on that.
Yeah, I'll look down. I feel like I've done about 30 laps, and I look, you're on lap 7. What?
It does. It takes so much more out of you.
And
I'm
the
all
two
over the track too.
I've been watching videos of other people running on YouTube, and they basically said, okay, if you want to run safe, run low. If you want to run fast, run high, but be prepared. Your probably not going to make it if you run high. And I feel much better going into next week now that we're going to be on pavement. I mean, Bristol's Bristol. I mean, there's going to be wrecks. There's going to be tempers flaring as there was last week. And, you know, that's short track racing.
Yeah, if this last week is any indication, I think this weekend is going to be, or this week is going to be quite the show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And the awesome thing too is with our broadcast, we are picking up viewers every week. You know, when we started this, so we had like, you know, 5-6 people, and it's usually friends or family watching, and we had 70 people watch the broadcast live this week. I don't know how much they stuck around for, but the fact that our numbers are going up every week, which is awesome, which is, you know, exactly what we were aiming for with this is, and we want it fun, but we want it to be entertaining as well. And I think by the fact that it's ticking up, and I know there's repeat people coming back, I think we're doing that. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Final thoughts, Kaden?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. I think I've said this in the driver's notes. My parents have a dog named Bristol. So Bristol is one of our favorite tracks. So I'm looking forward to driving this week.
Awesome. Eric?
No, so far I've run a handful of laps, but I feel a lot better about Bristol and the trucks than the next gen. Haven't looped it nearly as much as I have so far.
Oh yeah, getting rid of the dirt.
No rage quits this week.
Yeah, getting rid of the dirt and getting rid of the next gen. Yeah, it's just like, oh, this is relatively easy. And just the question is, can I keep up with the group and not take the whole field out in the process? So
now I want to be crazy and take a IndyCar at Bristol. And
I don't think that
really
would
go crazy.
I don't think that would go very well. That would be weird.
I've driven a DW12 there. It's a wild ride, but a lot of fun.
I can't even imagine what that
It's
would
wicked.
be like. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I've got, let's see, I've got an hour and a half to edit this, and then I think I'm going to jump into race at Kentucky in the Class C fixed. So
good luck.
yeah, I've one is, to be completely honest, this will be my first ranked race I've done. I've been involved in a year. I've been doing all unranked up to this point and hosted racing. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting situation. So
yeah, just run smooth and watch.
Yeah.
And just, you'll get a few cautions in there.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I again, I'm going to take it conservative. I don't want to ruin it for anybody and just get myself comfortable, and I'll, you know, we'll pick it up and see how it goes.
Hey, it's a good plan. Go for it.
So check out Wednesday Night Dash next week. I'm handling the in-car duties this week, so check us out on our Twitch at 10 p.m. Eastern. The broadcast will kick off on the Stadium Scene YouTube and Twitch channels at 10:15 Bristol. Always fun. frracingonline.com. Check out our blog, FR Racing Online, for all of our social media and streaming channels. So check that out. And thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to you again next week after Bristol.
Thanks for joining in, and thank you, Kaden, for joining us today.
And thank you, Kaden.
Guys.
All right, take care.
See y'all.